Mirthmobile. I think we'll go with a little
Mixtape Monday.
Excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!
party on!
Party on, Wayne!
Party on, John.
All right. Good evening or afternoon or morning, wherever you're joining us from or catching it on the rewatch. I'm your host for the night, John, the creative blue collar guy, and I am joined by my father from another family, the old man himself, Roman of the Empire. How the hell are you, buddy?
I'm well, and thank you for having me back. I love Mixtape Mondays. Gets me to talk about something other than Ahsoka or Star Trek. So it's a good branch out for me because God knows my therapist told me that if I kept on this path, something dark was going to happen. So it's good that we do this. I thank you for having me.
And then also real quick, before we move any further, I do apologize throughout the night if I turn into an amorphous blob or if I'm lagging. My laptop is plugged directly into my router, but we discovered about 2 minutes before the live stream that for whatever reason, my laptop is only reading my Wi-Fi. So I make no promises on the quality of the show, but we're here nonetheless. And yes, as I stated on Twitter, I don't think I'll ever call it anything other than Twitter. It's just the name change is dumb. Yes. If he starts talking Disney, Star Wars, or Star Trek, or Marvel, you're fired. I think you've already been fired 3 times just before the stream started.
Before the show, actually, yes. So yeah, maybe a new record. I'm not 100%, but
I've pretty much reached the point in my life where there's only 3 Star Wars movies. There's only 3 Indiana Jones movies. Yes, I did go see the 5th one in theaters. I don't want to talk about it.
Buddy,
he deserved a better ending than that.
That's what your mother said, Rebecca.
I will take it to my grave that the ending that Indy deserved and the ending that he got once was him literally riding off into the sunset with his father and Sala, and them still arguing about his name and him, giving him shit about, that Indiana was the dog and whatever. It was brilliant. It was it. It was a trilogy. It wrapped things up. It put a neat little bow on it. He rode off into the sunset with his father while his father was still riding his ass about stuff. Like, it was perfect. But then they felt the need to make not 1, but 2 more. Anyways, 3 Star Wars movies, 3 Indiana Jones movies. Marvel ended after Endgame.
Boy, did it.
That's the world I live in.
And I fully accept that. So, yeah, I could go on the track of things that have gone really wrong. And I actually saw something. Greg Roberts, I think, is talking about it today. You and I have talked about this topic, and I don't want to monopolize here, but the reboots, recycles of all the old good things that Hollywood just can't seem to stop doing. The Office, I think it's The Office they're trying to do a reboot on now, another reboot, which
first of all, that in my opinion they could improve on because I didn't like it to begin with. So maybe they could actually make it better.
And but they just don't need to. I think the age of that kind of thing, it's dead. It's a dead.
Well, and actually,
salted.
I'll rewind a little bit and correct myself. I never watched, and I actually probably should because I might like this, but I've never actually watched the original British version with.
I haven't seen the British either.
Ricky Gervais. I would actually probably really like that because I really like Ricky Gervais. I think he's hilarious, and I love British humor like Monty Python and things like. I might actually like the original one, but I never looked into it because. As much as I normally do like Steve Carell, and I think he has made some good movies and is funny, The Office just never did it for me. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there. Really quick, though, before we continue on, we had Lady Marine here early on in the chat. She is obviously here to harass us, which is always fun. Steven has his AI bot ready, the waiting to combat our discussion. Jacob Ironside as well. Thank you for joining us. Good to see you, brother. And I think that's it so far. So, what do you got going on, Roman? What's going on at the? I don't know. It's either the Empire or the Shire, or a little bit of both. What's going on in your world?
So I went to Balboa Hospital today. It was exciting. I because I'm old, so I got to see my pulmonologist. That was nice. Because at my age, I have a pulmonologist. So that was really exciting. And I spent most of the day out with Mrs. of the Empire, who will one day be a voice in the background on one of these things, because I keep trying to get her out here, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know, Roman. It sounds really scary, and I don't want to blow my anonymity." And I'm like, I
We
know.
almost got her last time. Last time I had you on, maybe it was when we were still backstage, and she came out to ask
She
if Pippin
popped in
had
every
eaten
now and
or
then. She'll
not.
pop into the studio of the Empire.
Even then, when we were still just backstage, I couldn't hear her. So your microphone is very directional. So yeah.
Again, that's what your mother said, Trebek. I'm sorry, I won't do that anymore. I promise. So I have been going to the record
that's
store
perfect.
a lot.
I love those. Those skits were brilliant.
They were. That was. I think because SNL goes through these phases of greatness and absolute
terrible
shit. That was during
they've been in a place of absolute shit for a long time now, though.
It's funny. I don't even think of it as being on anymore. I mean, I really don't. In my brain, that's not something I ever think about, except when Eddie Murphy was on. Was it last year? Maybe.
I think that was the last one I watched. Was when Eddie Murphy came back to host, and then Chappelle. Yeah, but it's like if there's a host that I'm really interested in, I might watch. But how did I miss this comment here? Jacob Ironside, Roman's not wearing the leopard print tonight. What gives? It's either a mosquito or a small fly flying around in front of me.
I am, my friend. I am.
Oh, yeah.
Let that burn into your brains, kids.
But it's I don't know. Is it still hot enough to need the fan in the garage right now?
Actually,
it was
really
a little warmer today.
It was nice
today.
outside, but I didn't have the door of the studio cracked all day, so it got hotter than Satan's asshole in here. So I've got the ball fan of the Empire cracked up under the desk, and it's fanning my nether regions as we speak to try to drop it down here.
Only Romans.
Yes.
Or was it Only Fans or Only Romans, or what was it called? I don't
know.
Only
Fans kind of works. But what are you gonna do? So yeah, a lot of record purchases. Yes, Jacob Ironside. Yes. We all know Roman hates The Fifth Element because it's a terrible movie. And I have a least favorite character, which would be the screeching.
I've never actually seen the entire movie. I think I've just seen bits and pieces of it.
Oh, really? Well, you save yourself the mental anguish, my young friend. Don't do it.
Which I typically really respect the works of Gary Oldman. I think that he's quite the character actor.
Oh,
but yeah, this is one that I have not seen. Here.
So I feel and I feel the same way about Dracula. That if Gary Oldman can't save it, then there's a lot
I forgive a lot of things in that one.
I know you do.
I feel like I'm able to forgive a lot of the things in the Bram Stoker's Dracula due to the fact that while yes, it was made in the early 90s, CG and special effects and all that we're still a long ways away from where they are now, but that movie specifically set out to make a movie with all the old school camera tricks. There were no computers involved. Everything was, we're going to flip this camera upside down. We're going to do this. We're going to flip it back, film this, and then expose the film, then whatever.
It's
so
fine. It was compelling.
And then Gary
Keanu
Oldman
Reeves speaks and ruins everything.
Tom Waits as what's his name?
Tom Waits is fine. Actually, I didn't mind Oldman or Waits in this. It was, I think, pretty much every actor in the film I did have a problem with. Carrie Ools,
because isn't he actually British?
He is actually British, but he was playing an American.
British.
And then Sir Anthony Hopkins, who's brilliant, was just freaking horrible as Van Helsing, Winona Ryder. He don't even get me started. And of course, whoa, is that Dracula? I just not a good choice. Not
Dracula,
a good choice.
yo, like you can't keep me locked up here in your castle, bro. Like I gotta get back home.
And that was pretty much the movie. That was the movie. That was the 30-second version of Dracula. No.
Have you ever? Oh man, I haven't done this in a while, but have you ever looked up honest trailers on YouTube?
I've seen it. No, but I haven't actually watched anything. But I know what you're talking about.
So there's this channel called Honest Trailers, and that's exactly what they do. Is like they take like movie trailers, but then they like wipe the audio and redo like a new voiceover over it, and basically call it like what it is. And it just they're hilarious. Yeah, they're pretty good. So let's see. You already kind of went over what you got going on. Oh, and then so like your main thing. I know, like I said we were texting earlier that you've sort of scaled back your online presence a little bit, but your main thing, you still have your Thursdays. How many more episodes of Ahsoka are there?
There are only 2 episodes of Ahsoka left.
Two
Thank
more
God.
left. Oh, good Lord. So you are out there doing God's work, my friend.
The big blowout.
Cheers to you, because you're doing something I won't do.
And but I'm also on with Miss Merton Muses tomorrow night at 7 Pacific Standard for Pub Crawl, which is a weird one for me. But I both like to drink and talk about almost anything, so I'm going to be on her show. I haven't been on Teresa's show before, and she runs a good show. They're a lot of fun. She's a good host, so I'm looking forward to that.
Unlike the show that you're on right now, where I'm not a good host, and we're just gonna drink and talk about some music shit.
It pretty much mirrors real life. It's very similar in real life. It's just.
I mean, if we could just, set a camera up in the backyard when we're drinking whiskey and smoking cigars, I mean, this would pretty much be it. It's just the difference of we're, about like 5 or 6 miles apart right now instead of hanging out in the backyard smoking cigars. Let's see. What do we want to start with?
What do you want to jump into? These were all interesting topics.
I had a list. We have some rapid fire stuff.
Like, oh Lord, they're back. Why are they back?
So I think let's start with, because then this will also roll into what you wanted to throw in here. We got new release radar. I gotta change my screen here. So and again, I'm very selective in what I want to talk about when it comes to new releases, because I'm very selective in what I listen to. I listen to both a little bit of everything, but also very niche things. This one came out on Friday. So for those of you who don't know, Friday has become new release day for music. I remember way back in the day, it always used to be Tuesdays, new books, new movies, new music. Everything release day was Tuesday. For some reason, the music industry shifted to Friday. Why? I don't know. They wanted to make things difficult. They wanted to be different. Anyways, here we are. The boys out of Massachusetts, Stained, put out their first new album in, I think, 11 years, called Confessions of the Fallen. Their last release had come out in, I don't know, my math said 13 years. They said 11 years. I'm bad at math, even though I'm a machinist. Their last album had come out in 2011, at which that time singer Aaron Lewis kind of went on to start his solo career as a country singer, which he's also done very well in. But also a very outspoken libertarian. So go to one of his shows.
This actually
does not censor himself.
I never saw this coming back. The whole
a lot of the like late 90s, early 2000s, what some people call new metal, what some people now call dad rock, because people my age, I'm not a father, I don't have kids, but people my age are now dads, and this is their dad rock. Like, it's all that stuff's coming back. So yeah, the mostly, it's kind of interesting that it's just now coming out in 2023, because they said they recorded it largely during the virus of unknown origins. And again, Aaron Lewis being a very outspoken libertarian, was very against all of the mandates and lockdowns and things of that sort. But at the same time, if you can't get a recording studio to grant you studio time and you don't have a home studio, what are you going to do? So he said they were just like mailing files back and forth through email, and someone would send him an idea and he'd add this and they do that and whatever. And eventually they got it all recorded. And here we are. Confessions of the Fallen, first new album from Stained in 2023. I actually just saw them live in concert a couple weeks ago with Godsmack and did not know that they both bands hail from Massachusetts. That they were actually friends coming up at the same time, like when they were just little local bands. And he was telling stories about he was so during Stained's set, Aaron Lewis was telling stories about how, you know, they were friends with the guys in Godsmack. They came up at the same time, and like Godsmack would be doing a show where it's like in their hometown and all their friends are going to be playing, and they, you know, and they tell Stain, you know, hey, like come open for us. Okay, cool. And then Stained would be doing a show over kind of on their end of town, and all their friends are going to be there, and they'd tell Godsmack, like, hey, come open for us. And he said, and guess what? He's like, we both got record contracts. We both got deals. We both came up together, because he said ego gets you nowhere. Like they rooted for each other. They cheered each other on. They both came up together. Like, you know, he's like, having an ego doesn't get you anywhere. It was also kind of funny during said concert. So Stain comes out, they play their first couple songs. They're just, you know, firing them off back to back, not talking, not saying anything. And all of a sudden, like the band walks off stage. Aaron Lewis is standing there with an acoustic guitar and smoking a cigarette. And he goes, well, like, I don't have a lot to say, because when I say things, I get in trouble. Except fuck Gavin Newsom. Y'all need to smarten up. And the whole place erupted. This giant arena, this big amphitheater, like everyone was all clapping and into it and stuff. And I'm looking around going, well, then how the hell did this guy survive both a recall and a re-election?
Yeah, no shit.
Whatever. So there's that. That's Stained. New album from them. Then this one actually came as a surprise to me. Maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention on the social medias. I don't know. Maybe he'd been hinting at it, maybe even talking about it. But all of a sudden on Friday, I'm at work and I'm looking through my Spotify and notifications and, oh, what's new, what's coming up stuff. And to my surprise, a new EP from Zach Bryan, who he just put an album out like a month ago, not too long ago. Oh, and then Blair to Blair is joining us. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Looking forward to your visit out here, and hopefully we can get together in the real world and share some beers. And we got Zach's joining in. What is up, Zach's? Always good to see you. I think we're all caught up there. So yeah, somehow or other, I think Zach Bryan surprised me with this EP. It's just 5 songs, 18 minutes long, but something else new from him. Because let's see, his other album just came out on, I think the date's in here, August 25th. So
like a month
not even a full month ago. Not even a full month ago, he put out this album that's featuring artists such as War and Treaty, Sierra Farrell, Casey Musgraves, the Lumineers, and I've been seeing some stuff on social media that. And I've been seeing some stuff on social media that he just recently did like a big show or a big festival or something where a lot of these people were there. Like the War and Treaty joined him for that song. The Lumineers were there and joined him for a song. Yeah, I feel like I used to see that a lot more in like the 90s and kind of the early 2000s, a lot more in like the, again, what people call the new metal genre, like bands like Korn and that kind of stuff. Like bands like that used to constantly, like Korn would have like, oh, we're gonna have Scott Weiland from STP come and join us. And Deftones, we're gonna have stuff in. It's unfortunate. Cheers to Scott Weiland. But I feel like rock bands used to do that a lot more, where they would like bring their friends in to feature on a song on the album and would, and I feel like you don't really see it as much anymore. I actually remember the first time I saw Korn live in concert, it was Rob Zombie had just put out his first solo album apart from White Zombie. And then Korn was riding high on Follow the Leader. So this was like 97, 98, something like that. I was like maybe 13 years old, and my older sister takes me to this show that's Rob Zombie and Korn. And I remember there's on Korn's second album, they have a song called Wicked featuring Chino Moreno from the Deftones. He was there at the show and he came out and did the song with them. And everyone's like, oh my God, like Chino from the Deftones is here. And it's like, yeah, you just don't see stuff like that anymore. Let's see what else we got. And then, so that's as far as like albums and stuff. But then digging more into, I mean, San Diego bands, but San Diego bands that have
You had a
hit
couple
big.
horror shows that well, actually, no, only one horror show for me specifically. The other one is good. The one you're about to talk about is not good. Not good for me. Not good for me.
Horror shows. What are we talking about? What's going on?
I think we're talking about the same thing. Bring it up. Bring it up. Bring it up.
Well, we're still talking about new release music.
Yeah. Oh no, this one's fine. Never mind. No, we're not there yet. We're not to the other thing.
Oh, okay. All right. Out of Chula Vista, San Diego, California, the boys from POD. Obviously, they have a new album coming out. They've been teasing all of their stuff. They've been in the studio. They've been doing promo shoots. They've been doing videos. They finally dropped their first new song, funny enough, called Drop. Excuse me. Featuring Randy Blythe, the singer from Lamb of God, if you're not familiar, another metal band out there in the world.
Yep.
And so new song from them. And then we have one more. Maybe this is the one that's going to somehow trigger Roman. I'm not sure how, but we're going to find out right now.
Yeah, this is it.
Okay, out of Poway, California. Okay, so first I want to hear your story. What's going on?
Blink is the most talentless fuck ass band in all of musical history. I fucking hate Blink 182. Cannot stand Mark Hoppus and the rest of the boys.
They know
it is the whiniest bullshit stuff. They lucked into, I don't know, they found the whiny groove of America at that time. I fucking hate Blink so fucking much. It's hard for me to actually articulate it at all because I hate them so much. They are the fifth element of bands. That's Blink 182 to me. I'm done.
I mean, I hear all that. I get it. But just like when I comment on some of your Twitter posts, where it again, like anyone who's watching this, like if anyone actually thinks that I'm like really trying to give Roman a hard time, like it's all in good fun. Yeah, like it's all in good fun. We're just having fun. We're just teasing each other, whatever. But to which Roman usually responds back to me, says, "Stay in your swim lane, music man." So Blink 182 found their swim lane in the music world, and it is that very pop punk. And you don't have to love it. Most people don't have to love it, but they found their lane and they stuck with it. But this is another band.
They didn't. I just fucking hate them.
And this is another band that comes out of San Diego, specifically out of Poway, that they really hit it big, and I still think it's kind of cool. Switchfoot's another one that, like, maybe Switchfoot hasn't enjoyed the same level of fame as Blink 182, but Switchfoot's out there. They're doing their thing. They're from San Diego. Really cool guys. I've met the guys from Switchfoot and POD a bunch of times. Just the most normal, nice, very humble, just great guys. Like,
it's generally where music goes to die. San Diego, because we're the bastard underbelly of Los Angeles, which is where everybody goes to make it big.
Which is funny because Los Angeles is disgusting.
It is disgusting. Completely disgusting. So Stone Temple Pilots started in San Diego. They don't identify. They never identified a San Diego band.
They didn't want to claim it.
The San Diego music scene is by and large shit. There are way better bands than Blink 182 out of San Diego. Rocket from the Crypt is probably, in my opinion, the best of the local bands, and they almost made it. They got so close to the sun, but then nothing happened. Then you got bands like, POD is fine. They did make the national stage, but they were never like the Giants. But Blink did cross over. They had that national appeal. Why, I cannot fucking say, but they did. They made it. They broke through the slimy layer and crawled out into the world, where these other bands just simply did not. As I lay dying. Again,
first of all, cheers to you, Max, for being here. And then I forgot As I Lay Dying, but yeah, they came out. They were originally called Life Once Lost, but there was another band called A Life Once Lost and told them to change it. But yes, thank you for reminding me of that one as well. Another San Diego band hitting it big. POD, I think, like, they're maybe not as popular now. Like Satellite, it came out, funny enough, actually, their album Satellite came out literally on 9/11/2001. That was their biggest hit album. But they have continued to tour the world and continue to do the thing. But like I said, I've had a lot of personal interactions with different members from that band, and they're super rad guys. So it's like I'll always continue to support them, even if I'm not like their biggest fan. But they're really good guys. So anyways, all that being said,
I don't have problems with these other bands.
Something up here. Oh yeah, Lady Marine saying, I guess I need to move because I said San Diego. Well, California in general sucks. California is a cesspool. Like I was just downtown.
Joined us as well, so just want to say hi to her.
I was just downtown on Saturday for a baseball game. And yeah, it's bad. We're not as bad as LA, but it's bad. Downtown San Diego is gross. I used to work in downtown San Diego, and it was bad.
It is. If you'd like to see a lot of not attractive adult nudity, and if you're into, let's say, German fecal films, downtown San Diego is for you, my friends.
When I was working downtown for, I don't know, 9 months or so before I realized that I also really hated that job. When I would walk from the facility that I worked in across the street to the parking lot, and I'm not exaggerating, I would literally have to like step over homeless people on the sidewalk. So it's like, yeah, you know, a blue lead state with a blue lead city council in San Diego. Oh yeah, and everything's fine. It's like the dog in the burning house. This is fine, you know.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good.
So, anyways, after all of Roman's ranting, Blink-182 announced obviously a new album. Tom returned back to the band after a brief stint of Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio fronting the band, keeping it going while he went off and was researching aliens and making documentaries about extraterrestrials and, you know, doing his whole thing. Whoa, what just happened?
What happened? Oh God, that might have been my fault.
Hey, there we go. Nope.
Was that me? I might have done. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
First boomer moment of the night. Everybody drink.
Damn it.
So they announced that the name of the album will be One More Time, but then they released 2 new songs, as pretty much people expected. Okay, they got a new album coming out. Tom's back, whatever. So One More Time, they said, if you're not familiar with the history of Blink-182, the first time they took a hiatus, because again, Tom wanted to go off and do other stuff, and that's when he went and started his other band, Angels and Airwaves. Drummer Travis Barker got in like a pretty gnarly plane crash. It was like one of the like smaller kind of private planes, but I should have looked this up. I'm going to sound like an idiot, so like don't quote me on this, but I think maybe other people on board may have died, maybe not, I don't know. But like Travis Barker got pretty mangled, and while he was recovering, it like brought the 3 guys back together to kind of be like, hey, you know, it doesn't matter whether we're in a band or not in a band. Like, let's just, you know, we're still friends. We've still known each other over half our lives. Let's get together. And then that made them, you know, want to make more music together. Then fast forward some years later, there's arguments over whether he quit, whether he was fired, whatever. Tom leaves Blink-182 again. Enter Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio. They released 2 albums with him, toured for a while. Mark Hoppus, bassist and fellow vocalist, was diagnosed with cancer. He went through the treatments and everything, and as of right now, he's cancer-free. So, you know, good on him. That's good news. It's a positive diagnosis that as of right now, he's in the clear. But that was another thing that, again, it just brought the 3 of them back together, where it was like, regardless of if we're in a band together or not, like we are still friends. So they said calling the you know, the one song, and you listen to the song, the lyrics are a little on the nose, where it's like, do I have to die for you to say you miss me? Does it take planes falling out of the sky? It's a little on the nose, but
Lord. You know,
Roman, you would hate it. It's a very nasally emo acoustic ballad.
Just the lyrics you read, actually, my fucking balls crawled back inside my body.
I appreciate their friendship and the fact that, you know, they're basically saying it's like, okay, we have one more time to not mess this up. Like the band split up before, plane crash, we got back together. The band kind of split up before, guy gets cancer, we come back together. They're like, okay, like what does it take for us to not mess this up? Like they are a successful band, they are friends. What is it going to take for them to not mess it up? So that's kind of the story behind like why they called it what they called it. And it's like, you know, I at least appreciate the friendship that they're like the initial thing of putting the 3 of them in the same room together was because of Mark Hoppus's cancer diagnosis and them saying, look, this doesn't matter. The band doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we're in a band together. Like we are still friends. So I was like, okay, like there's something admirable to be saying to be said about that, you know. because that really is important. Like the band could break up tomorrow and never release another song or never tour again, but it's like if they're just, I mean, look, like Slash reuniting with Axl Rose, let's be real, that's all about money. Those two hate each other. They have famously been quoted in interviews, both of them, more than once, saying one of us will be dead before we ever are on the same stage again together. And yet, for the past however many years now, the almost entire original lineup of Guns N' Roses has been touring the world. But that is because of money. I'm pretty sure Slash and Axl Rose aren't going out and having lunch.
No. No. No, and for the as far as the Blink thing goes, like I said, I can appreciate the whole friendship aspect of it, and good on them. Despite me hating their music, I mean, they made it. They did something that I never crossed even into that mild sphere of the music biz. So good on them. I mean, like I said, you guys play, and some people like you. A lot of people like you. I just don't. I'm not one of those people, but good on you. You make me appreciate other music more.
Yeah, and so I guess with that's all I have as far as new release radar. And I know you said you went shopping today, so you wanted to show off some.
I did. Let's see. Where's the? This is
see
old.
What you got here.
Somehow I ended up with like this whole pile of shit that I didn't intentionally grab. So
you have a problem, right?
I do. So some of these you guys are going to think are weird choices, but they're actually classic. So this is the Bee Gees. Now, the Bee Gees are an interesting band. If you're only familiar with their disco era stuff, which is on here, then you are not familiar with the Bee Gees. Their older music is brilliant stuff. If you've ever seen The Walking Dead, and you probably have, the song Spicks and Specks was featured in The Walking Dead. And it kind of caught me off guard because I didn't know who it was. And their song, I Started a Joke, has been covered by many, many bands, including Faith No More. So, like I said, look up the older stuff. It gives you a whole new appreciation for that band. Oh, here we go. This is where I got when things got weird. And I actually picked this up like 2 days ago, but I've got like a stack of them. This is Wet Willie, and the band is called, and then that's the record is called Mannerisms. And it's weird. I didn't know what to expect. It was only $3, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna get it." And it's actually a really good album. It's very reminiscent of like Jay Giles, if you're into that era of music. Doesn't look like it from the cover. It looks all haunty and dark and shit, but it's not. That's a lie.
I don't know if you could pay me $3 to take home a record called Wet Willie.
So, my green screen's interfering a little bit here. So, Cat Stevens' greatest hits.
Oh no.
Yep, father and son. That's you and me, baby.
I didn't. I'll let you do your thing, and then I'll tell my story. But I didn't used to hate Cat Stevens, but I have a story as to why I can't stand him now.
Oh no! Why do I got a problem going on behind me? I don't know what's going on. Boys to Cult.
Down?
No, something's going on with my background. I'm gonna have to check it out for a sec. It's a live album.
Oh, it thinks your records are part of your green screen.
It may. I think it's incorporating that. It's freaking out a little bit. No, it's still freaking out just on its own. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so Blue Oyster Cult. This is live. And it's a nice mix of their songs. It's not a bunch of things everybody knows though. The Red and the Black and Seven Screaming Dizbusters are like the highlights on the album. So if you've never heard of those, then you're gonna be like, I have no idea what I'm listening to. But it is still good Blue Oyster Cult. I got this today. It's really driving me crazy. Oh my god!
Oh wow, that's really weird. I'm not even gonna show it. You're really throwing off your camera here.
So troublesome.
I think like maybe like the first time once you brought something into the screen, it's like thrown off the whole
like fucked it up. I'm gonna take it off and bring it back. I'll pop out and pop back in. So we got Glenn Campbell, best of the early years, Wichita lineman.
That photo though is like awkward school picture. Like
that is that's not good, right? That's like what the fuck, Glenn Campbell.
I love all like the old classic country, like the album covers and stuff where it's the total like cross your hands, like tilt your head just right. It's like, oh my gosh, is this like third grade school photo day or something?
That's weird. It's like freaking out on me.
Hey,
and here we
Kate,
got Bruce
what's up,
Springsteen,
brother?
who I know. Hey,
Oh,
Cajun Corey.
you're fired.
So
you are fired.
no.
No.
I need to address this. I need to talk about this for a sec.
Yes.
Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is.
Some
I know what it
explaining
is.
to
I know what
do.
it is. That it's bouncing off the fucking cellophane.
You have some explaining to do, old man.
Okay, all right. I will. Give me 1 second. I think I figured out my
Why
problem.
would you buy Bruce Springsteen? He's the worst.
I do. What in the shit? Oh no, I know what it is. 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 Hang on. I gotta pause it.
Hold on, I gotta go back up to Max's comment here.
The problem is the garage door of the Empire is open right now, and the sun is shining through the bottom of the door and reflecting into the back of
oh my lord.
I know, just hang on. It's fine.
You know, I'm the one that took an 8-month hiatus from this. How is it that my show's still better put together than
oh my god. All right. Okay, I'm back. Hang on. I'm coming. Everything's fine.
So are you also going to get that sweet Bruce Springsteen Christmas album where he does Santa Claus is coming to town live in concert? And he's like,
Santa Claus is coming to town. No, so
you've been good, boys and girls.
I'm getting the album that I was trying to show you before. I'm glad I figured out what was going on there. There was so much movement for me. So
actually,
Bruce Springsteen,
Lady Maria, I don't even know if you two are in the same generation, because Roman's how old are you? You're like 1,000 years old, or 50,
I'm 167 now. Yeah.
He's somewhere in that realm.
Oh, that hurts so much. Heart pounding.
Today is my 111th birthday. I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve.
That was actual footage of Roman at his birthday this summer.
Yeah, he was there. So the Nebraska, the Bruce Springsteen album, Nebraska, fuck off, was inspired by the writings of Flannery O'Connor, who not everybody knows. But she was one of the great Southern writers. It's very dark material that has some just very deep meaning in the writing. But it's most of these short stories, not all. There's like Wise Blood, which was turned into a film starring Brad Dourif, as of all things. And he founded the Church of Christ Without Christ. You know, it's just really strange stuff like that. So if you like weird tales, not like Twilight Zone kind of weird tales, but grounded in the real world kind of thing, then you would like Flannery O'Connor. And that's what Bruce Springsteen was inspired by when he wrote this album. So it's out of the normal jerk off pretending to be Mr. Blue Collar stuff.
Blue collar working man. Like
but it's a very good album, and
Mr. Blue Collar Working Man. That's like, oh yeah, I can justify a $2,000 concert ticket. It's like, well, geez, that's going to be a really boring concert just full of like proctologists and dentists.
It's fine. It's fine.
That's great.
Anyway, so that's the part of the many albums that I've picked up over the last couple of weeks. I do have a problem. I was told by Mrs. of the Empire that I'm not allowed to buy anything else for like the next 2 weeks. So there you go.
That's reasonable.
It is. It's reasonable.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and get into our main topic now, because maybe we'll keep it to an hour. Maybe we'll go a little bit longer. I don't know how much of a get out of jail free card you have, but we can just moving along. We had a couple rapid fire topics here that we would skip. Actually, no, you know what? I wanted to do. I was gonna try to make like a video or a graphic for this, but maybe like a new segment, because as any of you who are here watching, first and foremost, I think I am up to, as of my last tally, 249 subscribers, which, if you remember last week, I was just rallying to reach 200. Again, a very modest number for a very modest channel. Awesome. But since finally taking off from my 8-month hiatus and posting my first video at the end of August. I'm up over 100 subscribers. So thank you to anyone here, new or old, if you've been here before, whatever.
Right,
but apparently every time I talk about Oliver Anthony, everyone gets all up in a tizzy.
Oh my God, you get the trolls.
The videos that I've put up about him, the ratios are largely in my favor. Ratios are largely in my favor, where it's, still 90% plus, where a couple of downvotes, mostly upvotes. But some of the comments, like I need to make like a little video or a graphic for this and just be like highlighted dumbass of the week. But I have more than one. There's multiple dumbasses of the week, and as long as I'm pissing off people talking about Oliver Anthony, I'm getting haters and trolls, in which I just laugh. Like I said in my last video, I'm like, first of all, if you think you're going to leave me a mean comment and you're going to hurt my feelings, number one, I don't have feelings to hurt. Number two, just know that I'm laughing at you. Number three, always keep in mind, any of you other YouTubers that are also watching this, this, a comment is still traffic. You can downvote the video, you can ratio the video, but if you leave a comment, hey, that's still traffic. Like they say, any publicity is good publicity. So thanks for driving traffic to my channel for all my haters out there. So on Friday, when I was still at work, news came out about Oliver Anthony. He'd hired a booking agent. Okay, whatever. I had a gig that evening after work. I knew I was like, I'm not going to have time to rush home and do a video. I'm going to do a short really quick at work. So a 60-second video, 60 seconds. All right. I got 2 comments on this thing today from a guy who, first of all, his first comment, see, I'm going to pull it up. Thought I shared it, but getting ahead of myself here. There we go. His first comment, he says, because I put it out there, said Oliver, and I, more information came to light after I made the videos, because I did a short on Friday, did a long form video on Saturday, and more information came to light where all he did was he hired a booking agent. He didn't sign any contracts, he didn't sign any deals, but the breaking news was Oliver Anthony signed a deal. Okay, new shit has come to light, whatever, the videos are already out there. We got one guy on here, Jeff Shackleford 36. He's not doing it for the money, but that's probably what you will promote. Oliver thinks different from people like you. You wouldn't understand pretty much nothing but the noise of where you live. Move to the mountain if you want to be a real man with a real story, just saying. To which I come back with, well, it's amazing how you know so much about me after only a 60-second video. I'll have to call my parents and let them know they did a terrible job raising me. Thank you for caring. Same guy comes back and comments again, like not even like minutes ago. Like this was like later.
He was very upset.
Got it all fingered out. I don't know if that was a typo or if he thought he was being clever.
Do not finger things out, buddy. That's a crime in most parts of this state.
Maybe not where this guy lives. I don't know. But he says, you got it all figured out before it even happens. That's what the F is wrong with people like you. Y'all are destroying this nation. Go sit on a stump and examine yourself. So right away now, I'm thinking that he's assuming that I'm like a lefty liberal something. I want to be like, bro, have you even watched any of my other videos? Have you even been here for more than 60 seconds? Like you watched a 60-second video of me saying, hey, breaking news about Oliver Anthony. It's like, maybe you need to do a little more research to realize that hey, you're the dumbass.
He's the dumbass.
Couldn't quite find. So he's the highlighted dumbass of the week. But then the runner up, it's all muddy because it's a big long comment conversation. But another fan of the channel, Salmon Outdoors, Devin, or friend of the North there in Canada, he commented on my long form video where in the article, the owner of the venue, Cotton Eye Joe, referred to Oliver Anthony as the Northman of Richmond. Doesn't make sense, right? It's not even the title of the song. And he's not north of Richmond. He's writing the song about, okay, so everyone here agrees. We all understand. We understand the mission, right? So Salmon Outdoors comments and he goes, wow, that's a really weird way to phrase that. And like all these people start attacking him and like calling him an idiot and saying, oh, you don't know, it's he's referencing the song. You don't know how to do your research. You just eat crayons, you just whatever. And like, so they back and forth because Devin is also famously a troll as well. Like he will troll on purpose. I understand what he's doing. We jab back and forth. We have a great time. It's fun. I finally, after this going on for like a day or two, comment and just go, you guys all realize he's literally quoting the article in which the venue owner called Oliver Anthony the Northman of Richmond. The guy that was like the main antagonist of this whole thing comes back and goes, "Oh, well, one's words don't lie. Nice try, though." And I just come, like, all I could say at that point, because I try to stay somewhat polite. Like, I'll be a little snarky and kind of sarcastic. But this time, finally, I was just like, wow, you're a special kind of dumb. Like, are you just one of those people that you just love to argue, but then ended it with like a thanks for the traffic, thanks for the comments. Like, like how stupid are you? Like, man. I love my haters. I really do. I love all the haters. Bring on all the comments, because every time you comment, that is still traffic to a video. Haters are still good for the channel. Let's see, what do we got? I feel like I got to get caught up in the chat now, because I just really went off on a tirade here.
Lady Marine is the best one.
246 subs right now. Yes, 246 subs. Thank you to all, new and old. Any of you that have been here from the beginning. If you are new, if it's your first time joining a stream, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. And like I already said, I also appreciate my haters, because you still drive traffic to the channel. It's always fun.
I'm dying over here.
Oh, forgot to shoot. Should go downvote and then change it. just to stir the pot. Which, speaking of stirring the pot, I'm surprised Devin hasn't popped in yet, but usually he can't stay for very long when he does anyways. You know, just when I'm at work and texting back and just unsubbing. Well, okay. That's fair. I understand. Of an idiot. All right. All right. Now that we've done our highlighted dumbass of the week, let's
pretty solid, by the way.
Let's get into it now that we only have 10 minutes left to make the hour mark, so I guess we're gonna go a little late. We'll see how far this goes before we might actually get an appearance of Mrs. of the Empire if we go beyond an hour. We'll see. So this is a topic that I feel has been kind of circling quite a bit. Just the use of AI in general. Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins has warned of this a little bit. I've heard other people talking about it. I think specifically what Billy Corgan talked about was basically saying that kids who have access to a smartphone, who have access to a computer, whatever, kids can, it would be super easy for them to just be like, AI, or like write me a hit song, whatever. And are we going to care enough about art and creativity and other things? I mean, that's part of what's going on with the whole writer strike in Hollywood. I mean, there's a lot of aspects to it, but that one of the things that I actually
things I agree with. Yeah, I don't agree with them on one of the
things with the writer strike that I do sympathize with is that they are afraid of writers are afraid of being replaced by AI, and that what would it take for just a movie studio to just be like, oh yeah, AI, go write me a superhero movie script, go write me an action movie script, whatever. I understand that side of it, and it's bleeding over into the music world too, where maybe people aren't necessarily going to lose jobs over it, but it's going to start to blur the lines of like, well, did that band really write that album and come together, or did they just like punch some algorithms into a computer and crank out some hit songs? So like Billy Corgan has talked about this. It's like we need to really appreciate true artistry and understand the difference between a human being sitting down and actually pouring their heart and soul into writing a song and creating something versus some 15-year-old typing in a computer going, make me a song. This story specifically, and we got a lot of other things to kind of unpack here stuff, but this was one of the first ones that I read where like someone was actually really doing it. And there's been some clarification. Paul McCartney has come back. I'm sorry, Sir Paul McCartney. This article is written by the BBC, so they made sure to actually use his official title, as he has been knighted. There is some clarification, because when it initially came out, all the headlines are saying the Beatles use AI to create new song, like they're gonna artificially recreate John Lennon's voice. Right. More or less what it sounds like is they have an old demo tape. Let's see if I can fix this here a little bit. Nope, I'm on the wrong screen. Not that one. Over here. There we go. Almost there. Getting better. So they were initially given a cassette tape from Yoko Ono, which still don't understand how she's still alive. But
the name. Ooh.
Here we are. Here we are. She was right next to him when he was. You know what? I'm not going to get into that.
I know, so close, so close.
Back in, I think, the mid 90s, they were compiling like an anthology box set of all their, big hits, number one hits, whatever stuff, and they put out a couple of previously unreleased songs. During that time, they were given a cassette tape from Yoko Ono of demos that John Lennon was working on at the time. And as this article goes on to say, it sounds like because this was back in the like 1979, 1980, and there were, if you didn't have your own actual like home studio, you set up the boombox and hit record, and you're like recording into your little boombox there, which sounds like what he did. But they're going to try to use AI. Well, not try. They said it's due out soon. The Beatles are going to release a new song where they use AI to, quote, extricate John Lennon's vocals from an old demo so they could complete the song. So they're just going to use it to take an existing tape, but kind of clean it up, kind of fix it. Here it said it had already been considered as a possible, quote, reunion song for the Beatles in 1995 as they were compiling their career-spanning anthology series. Sir Paul had received a demo a year earlier from Lennon's widow, Yoko Ono, and it was one of several songs on a cassette labeled For Paul that Lennon had made shortly before his death in 1980. Just even that little blurb right there kind of makes me wonder, because I had heard and I'd read things about how maybe they still weren't like best friends. They weren't going out to lunch together or anything, but they had talked on the phone and started to kind of mend fences. But then here he's working on these songs and labeled the cassette For Paul. He didn't know he was dying. He didn't have cancer. He was gunned down. He was murdered. So that I thought was kind of interesting too, that it's like, were they kind of trying to like, mend fences? But I also think sometimes, it's never good when someone passes away at a young age, but at the same time, I wonder sometimes with people like Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, like some of these guys, it's like, is it better that they were gone while they were still good and then they didn't have the ability to come back in their like 70s and 80s and try to do some kind of reunion show or something? I don't know. But lo-fi and embryonic, the tracks were largely recorded onto a boombox as the musician sat at a piano in his New York apartment. And really, like, the guy had an apartment. He's in one of the biggest bands in the world.
No. The term apartment and New York are confused. That means you can have the entire floor of a building that you own. That's they call them apartments. But it doesn't have the same connotation as it does in other places.
Okay, gotcha. Because I know I'm in an apartment right now, and right now where I'm sitting is where a dining room table should go, but I don't own a dining room table.
Not the same kind of apartment, yeah.
Let's see, what does Steven have to say here? Just saw an AI that extrapolates songs from a line or two of text in a single song. Okay, so that actually reminds me, I don't have any articles pulled up for this, but I don't think a single day goes by when I'm at work and I'm just on my phone, just scrolling, whatever, and I come across articles where it's like, and first of all, it's total clickbait, but you click on the article and they really do it, where they say, oh, well, we put this information into AI and told AI to write a new song in like the style of Nirvana, see the results. And I believe, I don't have any tinfoil. I need my tinfoil hat. I believe
I'm in.
I believe that people are intentionally feeding AI information from pop culture to teach it. They're like, here, write a new song as if Nirvana was still a band together today. Here, write a new song from Jimi Hendrix and see what pops out. Like, they are feeding information into this AI stuff. They're feeding it Stephen King novels, which that just means it'll end up being a whiny liberal, but but like, people are feeding information into AI to teach it. And I don't know about anyone else, but I think that's terrifying. Just before I went to the baseball game on Saturday, there was an article. I posted a screenshot in my story on Instagram. They literally have AI robots, physical robots.
Yeah, I saw that.
Walking around the ballpark, interacting with the team members, with the players, with the people, whatever. And I'm just like, I've seen this movie. It doesn't end well, man. Like
And here's my thought.
I don't know if someone
this,
actually did a song, but it wouldn't surprise me.
No, the song "A Little Less Conversation," and this was many years ago. It was an Elvis song, and they basically took the vocal portions of it and redid the entire backdrop of instrumentation. So not quite the same game, but that actually was a new release by Elvis. And you'll have to forgive me, I don't remember the year. It's when they put out the Number Ones album. That's when you got that song out there, which is kind of interesting. What I worry about, John, with this kind of thing though, is it starts with, oh, it's no big deal. I'm just taking it from a tape that we recorded from in the house that Yoko,
we're just gonna fix it up. We're just gonna remaster it.
And it starts there. It starts there. That's the nexus. But then they realize, if we just did this and this, we could actually have a whole different song. And then Ringo being, Ringo, because he's the only one really left aside from Paul. I like money. Money is good. I don't have enough. If I don't have as much as you do, I'd like to have more. And then you end up with a Beatles reunion song that didn't exist before because money will
like,
push people to do things.
It's like, what are they going to do next? Are they going to do a reunion tour and have like John and George holograms on stage or something? Like,
maybe they can get the robots.
Oh, jeez.
Look like Chucky fucking Cheese. Dinka, 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 dinka. But like I said, while it sounds, just benign enough right now, this is
right
where
now
the bad ideas start. What's that?
Yeah,
non-threatening.
So right now it sounds non-threatening. Like right now, it's
no
like you're saying, it's like, oh well, we're just gonna take this old demo tape and we're just gonna use AI to isolate the vocals and clean them up and remaster it. Well, now we're just gonna take Lane Staley's vocals and make a new Alice in Chains song with the original lineup, but it's all gonna be AI. Well, now we're just gonna make a new Stone Temple Pilots album with Scott Weiland on vocals through AI. Like, it's
because corporate has no end to its greed. It doesn't. That's what corporate is. If corporate could resurrect the corpse of the Beatles and put them on a stage and have them play as zombies, they would do so, because that's all they care. They don't care about the art. That is not corporate's job. They have only ever cared about the money.
No. The music industry doesn't care about anyone.
No, when you get a hit song, a good song, and then you get like 10 other songs that sound like that song, that's because corporate wants, hey, that one song sounded good. Give me an artist that does that. And that's how you end up with all these clone things. It's the same thing. Anyway.
I'm glad we're giving you ideas, Zach. We're gonna like
all hail the overlord. All hail the overlord.
Man, if I could use AI to make better live streams and actually get thousands of subscribers to tune in, maybe I should do that. Too soon, man. Too soon. Oh man, Buddy Holly and the Plane Crash album. Oh boy.
Ooh.
So kind of what started this whole thing, and we want to talk about this topic. So the Beatles thing, I had to go backwards a little bit because I had read about that months ago, but that was during my hiatus where I just didn't really have the will to do anything other than just go to work and then come home and drink, and which is still what I do, but now I'm being a little more productive with my off work time. But there was a recent interview with Nirvana bassist Chris Novoselic. I feel like I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Novoselic.
Okay.
The luckiest guy in the room in Nirvana.
So he here also says that he's open to using AI to finish unreleased Nirvana tracks. Now again, it's like it's already the slippery slope that we've been talking about. We're not like the Beatles is talking about using it, and they're saying, we have this demo tape and we're just going to use it to we're going to isolate the vocals and we're going to take out the other stuff and we're going to fix it up and we're going to whatever. So this is still kind of the same thing. They have unreleased tracks, demos and stuff that Kurt Cobain was working on before he, passed. And I still don't believe that he passed the way that everyone thinks he did, but we're not going to get into that today. And actually, interestingly enough, this was many months out, but I might as well just throw it out now. This December will mark the 30th anniversary of their famous MTV Unplugged performance, which I fully plan on doing a live stream about. The actual anniversary of it is it's like a weekend, but I'll probably do it like the Monday before or after something. But we're definitely going to talk about their MTV Unplugged performance, because there's a lot of very interesting behind the scenes stuff about it. And even as right now we're talking about how evil the music industry is, you guys have no idea some of the bullshit that went on behind the scenes of Kurt Cobain trying to get clean and trying to kick drugs, and the MTV producers paying people to go out and score drugs for him so that he could do the performance. That's how evil the music industry is. But
they don't care. They don't care.
As long as they get their performance and they get their paycheck,
Dance, monkey, dance.
Courtney Love or AI, I think like a Courtney Love AI could actually be an improvement on her end.
That's true. So Courtney Love or Yoko Ono? Courtney Love or Yoko Ono?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Is there a scenario where they can both be in a house that were like an earthquake and a fire occur simultaneously, and they both
pick one? One's like 75, but the other murdered someone. Well, allegedly. Please don't sue me. Allegedly.
No, I remember she was in LA when it happened. She was in LA when it happened,
right.
So it wasn't her fault. She totally somebody. Nothing to see here. No.
Allegedly. There's a documentary called Soaked in Bleach. I suggest you watch it.
That's a good one. They have actual recorded phone calls between her and the private investigator she hired to find Kurt when he left rehab. And the script very quickly flips to him telling her on the phone. And this is actual recorded audio between the actual private investigator and the actual Courtney Love, where he says, "We found Kurt's dead body. I think you were involved, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get to the bottom of this." And she fired him after that. Understandably.
Shocking.
Here's Steven is saying that AI breaks copyright regulations. That's an interesting take. I had not thought of that.
Well, it breaks them right now, Steven.
Because then it's like, well, you say like who gets the writing credit?
Who owns
How do you
this?
credit?
But someone will own the likeness, or the someone will own the voice, or the same thing with actors. Actors are worried about the same thing. Are worried about their likeness. The singer should be worried about their voice. I mean, it's not dissimilar.
I've seen people. I've had friends send me stuff on like Instagram reels and stuff where it's audio only, and they just kind of put some arbitrary video to it, whatever. But like audio of it sounds like Donald Trump and Joe Biden sitting in the same room.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's funny.
In the caption though. In the caption, it says like, "This is AI," and I'm like, this is way too believable. Like, this is some scary shit. Like, you want to talk about trying to blackmail somebody? How do you prove that it's not real? How do you prove that it's AI? How do you prove it's not really them? I've heard other ones where it was like Joe Rogan and I forget who the other ones were, but again, like very notable people where they just get little samples of their voice. They create this conversation with AI, and if the caption didn't say generated by AI, you would never know that it was fake. And I'm like, this is so dangerous. Like, we're already in a world of cancel culture. Look at what's going on with Russell Brand right now, just based on allegations. There's not been even an investigation. There's been no official investigation yet. He has not been charged with anything. None of his accusers have come out as anything other than anonymous. But just based off his allegations, YouTube has demonetized his channel. Parliament,
and he's not like
pressuring
Rumble
he's got to do the same thing.
In millions of followers. That's not a small financial hit. That's a big financial hit. And granted, Russell Brand,
right? But it's like
most of us, but still,
the fact that even Parliament got involved. Like, once Parliament was like, "Oh, well, we saw that YouTube did this and Rumble, we expect you to do the same." It's like, piss off. That Rumble is a private company and they're free to do as they see fit. And don't get me wrong. Like, I'm never one to be above admitting when I am wrong. If there are investigations, if there are criminal charges, if he winds up being guilty of something, I will be the first one to come back and say, okay, fine, yeah, he's guilty. But as of right now, the allegations are anonymous, and that's it. They're just allegations. There has been no investigation. There's been no trial. Look at, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I mean, technically, yes, Johnny Depp won the trial, but his career will never be the same again, just off of being accused. I digress.
Yeah, remember they dumped, he lost the stupid Harry Potter bullshit from that.
Yeah. Well, and initially, I mean, honestly, I think they had made more than their fair share of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but it was not out of the question for them to continue making more. But Disney was just like, no, like, we're not going to work with you anymore. And now that they fired him based on allegations, even if they come crawling and on their hands and knees begging him to come back, he's like, no, I will never work with you again because you fired me after just allegations.
He's straight up fuck off.
Oh man, I should have been quicker with it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
And that was without even a single drop of rum.
Hey, cheers to Johnny. So here in the article going on
stuff is, to me, I find
it's scary.
Go ahead and finish off the article, because again, to me,
I mean,
Novoselic is the Ringo Starr of Nirvana.
Well, because he hasn't really gone on to do much else. And then, we have our theories about Dave Grohl and the death of Taylor Hawkins, but rest in peace to you, Taylor. Sorry.
Poor Taylor.
But, using AI to complete old Nirvana material is, quote, a good idea, though everything has to be, quote, done right.
Said Frankenstein.
Goes on to say, this one's got a lot of cool things backstage. He's talking one of the they did like a box set of like greatest hits, other stuff. It's got like backstage passes, whatnot. What is this saying? So he's speaking to NME about the upcoming collection box set, as well as the band's legacy. Novoselic says this one's got a lot of cool things like backstage passes, little things you can hold, like the Who's Live at Reed's record. Oh, I guess he's referencing like when the Who put out their live record and it came with like memorabilia. But then he goes on to say, I'm excited about the live shows on there because they used AI. We took the digital audio tapes from the soundboard in Rome, Seattle, and Los Angeles. Then the AI can separate all the instruments, and we got a really good mix out of it. So again, right now, this paragraph, benign. I believe is innocent. I believe that this is a very innocent. He's saying we took old recordings from the 90s, and obviously technology was not anything what it was now.
Well, to the non-musicians out there,
separated.
Soundboard is the pure what the instruments and vocals are going through. It's not it's not the live performance with the clapping and the ahs and all that shit. It's the instruments. Everything goes through the soundboard and comes out the speakers, so they can capture what's going into the soundboard without all that outside interference. And that's what they've tweaked using the AI, just as in a nutshell explanation as to what they did.
So that's what he's saying here. It's like they took that. So just like when you're in a recording studio, and if you're sitting down and professionally recording an album, every guitar amp is separately mic'd up, every piece of a drum kit is separately mic'd up, every individual voice is mic'd up. So whether you do everything in an isolation booth separately or you're all in the same room, to some degree, everything is separate that you can mix, you can EQ, you can, whatever. So he's saying right now in this that's not even a paragraph. It's a little one sentence, whatever. He's saying that's essentially what they did with old live recordings. They were able to separate everything and mix it as if they were recording an album. So at this stage, where we are at right now, reading this sentence here, it's very innocent. He's like, we're not artificially creating anything. We're not artificially manufacturing anything. We're just using it as a tool to clean things up, kind of remaster, kind of fix it up with modern technology 30 years later. Fine. I have no technically I have no problem.
The filter makes the girl pretty on Instagram.
Technically, I have no problem with this statement. However, again, my tinfoil hat I got enough beer
It's that
cans
bottom
here that I could
paragraph
probably
that's
rip
the
them open
problem.
and make it. I could probably make a beer can hat out of aluminum, whatever. But it's the gateway drug, right? This is the gateway drug to AI. So they go, oh, it's fine. We're just remastering the audio. Oh, it's no big deal. Oh, well, now it's fine. Now we're just writing one song with AI. Oh, it's fine. Now we're just writing a movie script with AI. Like it's not good.
Dude,
It's not
dude,
good.
that bottom paragraph is funny because it says it's the same thing that Ringo is saying. I'm going to bring it up
Yeah.
with
Oh,
Dave Grohl and Pat Smear. I can hardly
I'm
wait to hear
gonna.
the new Beatles song.
Yeah. So down here,
sounds like
he says
I like
he,
money. I'd like
he
to
goes
have
on to
more of it.
quote say, well, yeah, because it's like, okay, like Dave went on to form the Foo Fighters, which obviously are massively successful. Whether you like their music or not, they are massively successful. That is not a lie. That's not misinformation. But yeah, so here it's like, what has Chris done since then? He's been in some other bands since then, but it's like nobody knows his
around,
name.
dude, but
Nobody knows his other band names. He just
nothing of relevance. Nothing of relevance.
He got his pilot's license.
Well, whoopee fucking do. Maybe he can fucking
So
fly
yeah,
the
he
rest of the
replies
band
right there.
somewhere.
He says, that's a good idea. He probably can't even fit all of the members of the Foo Fighters on the plane that he's allowed to fly.
Then he's got Buddy Holly going on, dude.
Oh no.
Oh.
So yeah, he goes on and say, "Oh, that's a great idea. I'm glad I spoke with you today because that's interesting." But the fact that he says that, like, "I'm glad I spoke with you today," like, sounds a little snarky. Like, I would be curious to hear like the audio of this interview. Like, maybe he's being a total smart ass. I'm like, "Oh yeah, like, thanks for pointing that out. Never thought of that." Like, but then yeah, there he's like, "I'm gonna bring that up to Dave and Pat. Can hardly wait to hear the new Beatles song. Come on, it's the Beatles. I want to hear a new Beatles song, and if AI helps it, then absolutely, that's the way it is today." I don't want to hear a new Beatles song. So I like with my parents and growing up with music and stuff, like for the most part, like my dad was really never like that into music, kind of whatever. My mom was like, number one, my mom loved the Beatles. Then she was very into James Taylor, Carole King, Simon and Garfunkel, more kind of on the folksy side of things. So when I got into high school and all my friends were like, "Oh man, I grew up hearing Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and stuff," like I didn't really discover like the rock music of the 70s until I got to high school because of just kind of what I grew up with. So the Beatles is a band that is actually kind of near and dear to me because it's one of the few kind of older classic rock bands, whatever you want to call them, that I actually really did grow up hearing and grew up listening to. I actually think the very first song I learned how to play on guitar was a Beatles song. I don't want to hear a new Beatles song. Their era is over. Only half of the band is still alive out of the four of them. Like, just leave it alone.
The material. Don't taint the material.
Right. It's like what they did was good. It was they had their legacy. They did their thing. They had their rooftop concert. They, whatever. It's over. It's done. Leave it alone. Let sleeping dogs lie. Like I personally do not want to hear a new Beatles song because it's like, what's that going to do for us? What's that going to do for the world? You get one more song that's been manipulated through AI, and then it's like, oh, here's one more song. All right, go about your life. Like, what good does that do me? Like, I think I'm good. I'm good. I don't need more new Beatles music from a cassette tape that John Lennon with like his boombox sitting on his piano. Like,
that's
so down here he says, I don't know. He's like, we've got to start talking about this. It's a good idea. There's a point where it's like, is this Nirvana on AI? There's a lot of that stuff already on YouTube, which we've already talked about, and that's a debate that's going to have to be settled when it comes to copyright and disinformation, which Steven already pointed out to us that it's a big gray area with copyright stuff right now because who owns it? Be settled when it comes to copyright and disinformation. It's like 2001, A Space Odyssey. Don't do it.
I don't even know what that statement means. That's a little confusing for me. I understand.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that.
Oh, he's talking about the robot, but he's not talking about the robot. He's already talking about using the robot. He wants the HAL 9000 to unfuck their music so he can release new songs.
This last sentence right here, this pretty much says it all, and this should be the end of it. But he finishes by saying, or at least they finished the article. It's probably not the last thing he said, but they finished the article by saying, "Kurt's not here in the present, so everything has to be done right, or it could not be done at all."
whatever. Done right, done not at all would be better, because the following statement was, Dave Grohl has more money than I do. I like money. I'd like more of it. It's the same thing. It's the same statement. I'm sure he's a lovely person, but in the end, everybody likes money. He is not the star. Fuck my life, Jesus. Cobain is immortalized now. He is. Yes. Dave Grohl is still a functional, churning songs out every couple of years musician, and he's had wild success since Nirvana. Novoselic is an afterthought. The other guy in the band, he's that guy. He was a founding member of the band, but he's not the guy people think of when they think of Nirvana.
Grohl was not.
No, that's true. They had the other drummer, and then they brought Grohl in. He was in Scream before down in DC, and then drove up. He quit high school and drove up and joined Nirvana, which is a bold move. I got a lot of bad things to say about Grohl, and I don't prefer their music anymore for other reasons. But you can't deny the success that Grohl has enjoyed during and post Nirvana.
Like we can sit here and have all sorts of misinformation. It's like saying that the Foo Fighters is not a successful band would be a blatant lie. We don't have to like their music, but they're obviously touring the world and living the dream, and
far more successful than Blink-182.
Are they though?
You sure about that? Are. They absolutely are. Yes.
You sure about that?
Pretty sure.
Oh boy. No,
Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
You're out of your depth, music man. You're out of your depth.
So that's so that's fun. Should musicians be allowed to use AI? I take it a step farther. I don't think any of this shit should exist at all. It really scares me. It really terrifies me. Like I was already saying, the thing of like, if you want to use this tool to blackmail people, you can quickly. I mean, like we kind of talked about. I think you had an issue a while back where you said you had to make a separate social media profile specifically for your YouTube stuff and lock down your private one because people were like stealing your likeness, your face, your voice, whatever. Like us putting our faces, putting our faces and our voices out here on a weekly basis puts us at that same risk. People could totally take this, plug it into an AI algorithm, and then say, "Oh yeah, here they said this, they did this, they were, what?" And like, how do you prove it? How do you prove that it was you? How do you prove it wasn't you? Like, I think this stuff is so terrifying that I've, been watching the sci-fi movies for the past 40 years, the Terminator movies, the iRobot, all this stuff. It's like, have we learned nothing from the sci-fi movie genre?
And I would argue that this is far more insidious than that, because they're an obvious threat. Even if it's a skin-colored robot that can look like whatever you want it to, it's still it's an evil being. This stuff is companies. To some degree, it can be anybody. Skill level is going to be a thing with this, but who can produce a likeness of you doing something.
Sure.
That's why when I say
saying something,
it does matter. Like the 15-year-old typing into his computer, "Hey, make me a Nirvana song," and the company utilizing top-notch tech to say, "We need a Nirvana song." That's that. Like I said, the other one's going to sound wonky, and you're going to get wonkiness out of it. The other one, you may not know, other than the fact that everybody's dead, and that's the insidious part that I'm concerned about.
Yeah, it's definitely I've seen this movie so many times. Why am I drawing a blank? The company in Terminator.
Cyberdyne?
What?
Cyberdyne Systems?
Yeah, that.
Founded by Miles Dyson. Skynet is the robot.
Start seeing people walking around. No, Skynet. That's what I was trying to think of. Skynet. When you start seeing people walking around wearing Skynet shirts and hats and stuff, then time to buckle up.
Yeah.
And where's John Connor? So what's actually funny is I have a cousin named John Connor, but he's I had to finally block him on my
That's
social media because he's a lefty,
he's not
just
saving us.
stupid. Like he would try to argue with me on anything that I would ever post about anything, and I just kept coming back and be like, clearly we disagree on these things. That's fine. And he just kept coming back and kept fighting me. And finally, I'm like, well, you live in a different state. And yeah, maybe we're blood relatives, but like I've met you maybe 3 times in my entire life. So I don't need you in my life. I'm good. Like, I don't need all your lefty politics and policies and stuff coming at me every time I say, hey, this is wrong. And he's like, oh, no. Like, we should be using tax dollars for that. I'm like, really? Yeah, Mr. Unemployed, Mr. having to move back in with your mom in your late 30s. Like, tell me more about how people need help because you are also an idiot.
You, sir.
So that John Connor is not going to save the world. That John Connor is sitting on his mom's couch eating fudge rounds, probably on welfare.
So good.
But you can pay for your own fudge rounds.
Wonga. That was a Jabba the Hutt reference for. Sorry.
One thing I've been thinking about since you posted the show, AI could help with film scores during re-edits. They could contract its use. So it raises a lot of interesting questions where it's like, I don't doubt that AI can be a useful tool.
I don't like it. No, it starts as a useful tool. That's how all these world-ending events happen. It starts as something useful.
And that's what I'm saying is I don't doubt that it can be used as a useful tool, but I feel like it's one of those things of like, is it worth the risk of like opening that Pandora's box of today it's a useful tool, tomorrow it's replacing humans and replacing people's livelihood. Like we've already said multiple times over, it could potentially replace talented songwriters. The part of the SAG-AFTRA writer strike is writers striking against studios having the freedom to use AI to write scripts for shows, movies, whatever. It's what starts as a useful tool becomes, well, where does it end? Are there boundaries? Are there borders? Is there, can we put things in place to say, well, you can use it for this, but it ends here. You can only use it up to this point. So, that's what worries me is I think that it's just one of those things where it's like, once you open the door, it's like, well, it's out there. So Roman, your mom said you'd be a useful tool when you were born. Ooh.
My mother said a lot of things, Trebek.
So I think we've pretty much covered our topics for the evening. Again, one last time before we go, if you want to plug what you have going on this week, Roman.
Oh, right on. Tomorrow again on at 7 Pacific Standard with Miss Martin Muses for Pub Crawl. And our big topic, I think, is going to be kind of favorite TV shows. And we're going to be talking about pubs in far off distant lands. And then on Thursday, we have coming up Ahsoka episode 7 with at 5.
I'm so sorry to everybody.
I know. Me and the panel, and that's coming on the same thing the following Thursday. And then the following Thursday, I think it's like October 12th, I'm putting together a special panel for spooky time stuff to talk about the movie The Prophecy. That's going to be our first of our Halloween specials for spooky month.
I mean, if you guys get to where you're talking, if you get to where you're talking like scary movies and spooky movies, I'm in on that, man. I don't know anything about anything Marvel, Star Wars, any of that bullshit now, but scary movies, I'm in.
Remember these words there, son.
Blair to Blair. I'll have to upgrade from a 6-pack to a 12-pack, but I'll be there.
Right on. Yes.
All right. Well, I think
cool.
Yep. We've run almost 30 minutes past what I expected to do, so I'll call that a success. Thank you everybody in the chat for hanging out with us and for putting up with Roman's boomer moments and my
Sorry about that.
Wonky Wi-Fi because whatever's going on with my modem. I didn't have time to reset it because it was 2 minutes to start, and I was like, well, I'm not going to restart my router right now. But anyways, thank you everyone for being here. As always, I'm John, the creative blue collar guy. Got Roman of the Empire, resident old guy, grumpy old guy who here my whole purpose in life is to be here to trigger him and piss him off, which we got a couple of good rants out of him, so it was a good night. And we will see you all next Monday. Cheers.
Be excellent to each other.